But personal borrowing, what's called household debt, the debt that all of us have racked up, it's the highest in the world in this country, isn't it?
Well, some people have borrowed too much and are overextended. A lot of people haven't.
But is it or not the highest in the world?
Well, I think you have to bear in mind that, some people have borrowed a lot and some people have borrowed and overextended.
Minister, but I'm asking you a question. Well, is household debt in Britain the highest in the world?
Well, household debt will reflect the level of assets that people have as well, and so it will also reflect the, whether people are homeowners.
How high is it?
So, for example, the fact that we have 70% of the population are homeowners will also mean that there will be levels of mortgage debt in response to being homeowners. Now, actually, that's partly because people want to be homeowners. If you look at somewhere like, other countries where they have much higher rates of renting,
could you tell me
you will get lower levels of mortgage debt as a result.
Under your government, household debt has become the highest in the world. Could you name any other country that's got more household debt than we do, that had a bigger credit binge than Britain? Could you?
Well, I think what's gone on here is not actually about the decisions that households have made. And I think it's unfair to make this about household decisions, because I actually think this is about banking decisions. It's about the lending decisions that banks have made and the way in which they've lent around the world and back again, the way in which they have increased risks in a way that's not transparent.
Under your watch, has any country had a bigger borrowing binge than Britain? But any country?
Andrew, we have a different situation in terms of home ownership and in terms of mortgages
than
many
no country's
other countries in the world.
We have, correct?
So I think it's quite likely to, what you've got to look at is the way in which people borrow for home ownership.
But can I just point out to you,
Minister, that's a good thing that people want to be homeowners and should be able to be homeowners. And you shouldn't punish people for that and shouldn't say that that's somehow a bad thing if people want to become
you're
homeowners.
Right, I'm being punished for trying to get you to answer the question. You will know, Minister, that under your watch, not only has personal debt soared to the stratosphere, not only that is it higher than any other G7 country or major economy, it is higher than ever any other G7 country. In the history of the G7, it is now higher. And isn't that happened under your watch why we are now actually peculiarly vulnerable to a credit crunch?
Well, we've also got very high levels of employment compared to previous decades and also compared to other countries. So that puts us in a much stronger starting position. As I said earlier, we've also got lower interest rates and we've also responded well in terms of the problems that we've had in terms of inflation. So I don't think, if you look at what's triggered this was the problem that we had in the US housing market, where there was lending to people who could never have afforded to repay their mortgages. But you don't have that sort of situation in the UK. It's a very different situation. You want to make it all about a personal debt problem in the UK. Actually look at the level of lending that there was in the US, which is very different.
Our household debt per capita is higher than America's. You well know that. And I'm simply trying to put to you that this makes us very vulnerable.
What it does is
you don't accept that?
No, it makes some people vulnerable because they're overextended and because they might be in a position where they might face mortgage arrears.